Charles Lindbergh, Minnesota hero or Nazi sympathizer. Introduction. Some consider Charles Lindbergh as America's greatest hero, others a Nazi sympathizer. In this documentary, you will find out how Lindbergh interacted with the Nazi Party and why people called him a Nazi sympathizer. In here, you will also know why he was considered America's greatest hero. Charles Lindbergh's public opinion suffered in Minnesota and the nation because of his ties to the Nazi Party in Germany and America First involvement. But some people would dispute that claim. Minnesota ties. Number 1. Charles Lindbergh grew up in Little Falls, Minnesota. Number 2. Charles Lindbergh's father was a United States congressman representing Minnesota. He also ran for governor of Minnesota as a farm labor candidate. Number 3. The main terminal of the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport is named after Lindbergh. Hero. Lindbergh was the first person to cross the Atlantic by flight in 1927. He flew from New York to Paris. He flew alone in an airplane called the Spirit of St. Louis. Thousands welcomed him in Paris when the plane landed. When he returned to the United States, he was considered America's greatest hero. He toured the Americas from north to south. That was organized by Henry Guggenheim, one of Lindbergh's best friends, a Jew. In 1932, in what some consider the crime of the century, his son was kidnapped, and a year later was found dead. Due to so much stress and press coverage, he decided to move to Europe. Before World War II, Lindbergh was a colonel in the U.S. Air Force. After his involvement with America First, FDR refused to give him an official commission, but he did conduct surveillance missions for the U.S. Nazi ties. Nazi official Hermann Göring awarded the Service Cross of the German Eagle to Charles Lindbergh. The man who gave him the medal was Hermann Göring, head of the German Air Force. He was the highest-ranking Nazi official tried at Nuremberg, the war crimes trials after World War II. Lindbergh was a guest of him at the Hitler Olympics, the Olympics that were hosted in Berlin when Hitler was in charge of Nazi Germany. There was an uproar in Minnesota when Charles Lindbergh was awarded the Service Cross of the German Eagle. Charles Lindbergh's name was even removed from his hometown of Little Falls Water Towers. Dr. Seuss even came up with cartoons to make fun of the medal. Charles Lindbergh brokered a deal between France and Germany where France would buy German airplane engines. The deal did not go into effect because by the time it was to occur, diplomatic relations had diminished. Dr. Seuss made a comic that you are seeing right now about it. An organization called Friends of Democracy created a pamphlet called Lindbergh is a Nazi. It has many quotes of Lindbergh denouncing Britain and praising Germany. He said it would be better for the American public if Germany won the war. Henry Ford, who Adolf Hitler called his inspiration, was really good friends with Charles Lindbergh. Henry Ford created many anti-Semitic articles in newspapers owned by the Ford Motor Company. He distributed the Protocols of Zion, a very anti-Semitic book that some say caused prejudice towards Jews around the U.S. He was even given the same medal that Lindbergh got. Lindbergh was an associate of Alexis Carrel, a French Nobel Prize-winning physicist who was a member of the Vichy France government. Carrel said, "All men are not created equal." He agreed with the Nazi stance that people with disabilities should be exterminated. Lindbergh and Carrel designed a revolutionary heart pump that kept people's hearts beating while undergoing surgery. Lindbergh said that he admired Nazi Germany and fascism is better than communism. He hoped that Nazi Germany and its form of government would someday become democratic. He even made plans to move to Germany before Kristallnacht, the night of shattered glass, when Germans smashed the windows of Jewish businesses, synagogues, and homes. America First. Lindbergh was the spokesman for America First, an anti-intervention in World War II organization. In Des Moines, Iowa, Charles Lindbergh gave a speech blaming Jews in the press and in Hollywood for the pre-war sentiment. This was one of the things that people accused him of being a Nazi. Conclusion: is Lindbergh a Nazi, or is he not? Is Lindbergh a hero, or is he not? Should our state be proud of the first person to fly solo across the Atlantic, or should we not? Should the largest airport in Minnesota be named after Lindbergh? What should his legacy be? That's for you to decide.